Today we cross the threshold into Holy Week, the most sacred week of the year for Christians. And it's a week that we prepare for many months, usually in advance. For example, today's Palm Sunday. We have to order the palms usually, probably months in advance. We get them from some exotic place. I don't know where they chop them down from. And then there's also the priests are ordering lots of flowers. We probably this time of year we are a big part of what keeps the floral industry alive by the number of Easter lilies and different flowers that we purchase each year for the churches. We place those orders months in advance, and we prepare all the many pieces. I know our Vietnamese seminarians, they have many wonderful memories of all the different ways that they would spend hours and weeks preparing for this week, Holy Week, all the different things that they would do to get ready for this week. And it's a lot of preparation and a lot of anticipation. And then we come to this year, and we really can't do any of it. I called Aaron Donlin this morning, and I said, "Can you go out and find some pine branches?" I mean, this is where we're at. Can you go find some pine branches? But if you look at our gospel, and actually we couldn't even read the normal. Normally we read for the solemn procession, we read the passage about the entrance into Jerusalem, which we didn't even read this year, because it wouldn't make sense to process around an empty church, just myself with a few seminarians, 12 feet away. It would be a very strange procession. So we didn't even read the passage, but you all know it. We read it every year. And what did they didn't have, it's not like they had months to prepare. What did they do? It says they went and they found branches in the trees. They did about just exactly what I did or told Aaron to do this morning. Well, go find something. Go find something. They took their cloaks off, whatever they had on their backs. And we don't have anything. We just got to do what we got to do. And I think there's a certain beauty to that, isn't there? Because there's a kind of authenticity. Year after year we've been parading around with palms, but they weren't our palms. There were somebody else's that we took and we used them. Well, these are our pine branches. They came from here. And it's the only thing we had, because we live in Maine. And if we didn't have pine branches, we'd lay down our cloaks, because that's what we'd have. There's a second dimension as well, the idea, we bring everyone together for moments like this. And we can offer our Lord this wonderful celebration, this time of community. This procession. Think about in Spain, every year in Spain, they have these wonderful processions. Thousands of people gathering in the streets. Hours and hours and hours of processions. Not a one this year. In Guatemala, they would line the streets with colored sawdust. They dye the streets, different beautiful patterns, only to all walk over them as a community of faith. Now they're all inside. And here we are in an empty church. And we would want to say, well, we may not have all these things we can do, Lord, but at least we have each other. We can offer you our community. But we can't even offer that this year. We're separated. And you know, as I look to the gospel, and as we think about what happened, here our Lord spent all this time building up a Christian community to be able to bring with him to the Father as this beautiful offering of humanity. And he gets to that moment of offering and they all desert him. And they're all separated. And they fall asleep and they betray him and they run away. And in the end, he's alone. It's just him in the garden. It's just him on the cross. And he doesn't have anything to offer. He doesn't have a penny to his name. He doesn't have a friend by his side. And so he offers the only thing that he has. Into your hands, Lord, I commend my spirit. And you know, in the end, that's the only offering that matters. That's the offering of this Mass. It's the offering of our baptism, when we died with Christ so that we could rise with him to new life. It's not that we lay palms on the ground or pine branches. Every one of these guys, one day, God willing, will lay themselves on the floor, as every priest does at his ordination, and make of themselves an offering. That's the offering, the only acceptable offering, the only offering that really matters in the end. And so I appeal to you who are at home. I know so much is just taken away from us this year. But your life has not been taken away from you. Your life was given to you by God so that you could offer it back to him. And maybe that is more in focus this year. We don't have the palms to distract us. We don't have the processions to distract us. We only have, some of us, one thing left. And we're united with our Lord in offering that one thing that we have, which is our heart, our soul, our spirit. And that's a beautiful offering. So stay with that offering, try to, as we go through Holy Week, rather than going through with the sense of being deprived. Our Lord, I suppose, could have sat there and wished they had had more exotic flowers and a bunch of horses instead of a donkey for him to ride into Jerusalem. He could have wished that his disciples had all been gathered around him and all gone and offered themselves with him, and they could have had this wonderful testament to the faith and given their lives together and shown the world all these things that would have been nice. And none of it happened. But I have no doubt that our Lord wasn't sitting there going, oh, I'm so deprived, this is such a miserable thing, I can't do this, I can't. No. Yes, I'm sure was some sadness. We know there was sadness. There was a sense of loss. There was a sense of grief. It would have been nice if he could offer more. It would have been nice if his disciples were together. But it's a fallen world, and he knows that. This is a fallen world. It's not heaven. And so in the face of adversity, rather than fixating on the things that we cannot offer and the things that we don't have, I think it's very clear, if we're following Christ, we should focus on what we can give, what we can offer. what we can lay at the feet of Jesus. And look around you. Look at the little things you can do this week, at your family, who surrounds you. Look at the other little things in your life that you can give. You have many hours each day. You can give many of them to the Lord. And more than any of those things, more precious than any of these external things, you can give him your attention and give him, in the end, do the best we can in our fallen nature, but to do the best we can to give him our very self.